Hello everybody. How you doing today? Come on in, come on in. Grab you a coffee and a snack and we're going to dive into Micah's final day. There's so many mysteries. There's so many questions that still need answering. Let's go over my notes and please join me in the comments and in the chat and let me know what you think and what insight you might have. This is an open discussion, a free forum, if you will. My name's Chevy Colady. If this is your first time visiting, we talk about true crime, Christian issues, current events, and weird alternative history. Things that we're interested in and things that we want to research, and then I share the information with you. This is a safe place to talk about things outside the box. Critical thinking and free thought is really just crucial to life, and you are welcome to share your opinions. No bullying or weirdness in the chat, please, or you will be booted. Boing, because we believe in being kind to everybody. Again, my name's Chevy Cool Lady. Please like and subscribe if you're just coming in so you don't have to do it later. If this sounds like a great fit for you, please become part of the family. We also have our little cool clubs, the Cool Club, the Cooler Club, and the Coolest Club, with little special stickers for you guys and other kinds of perks. I appreciate your support so much. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. We're talking about Mica Francis, a beautiful 30-year-old pastor's wife here in Myrtle Beach, where I'm coming to you live from, whose life was cut short, in my opinion, uh, in a way that's really unfathomable, in a way that her family and friends said couldn't have happened. It wasn't her. It wasn't like her. In a way, one person has stuck with a narrative claiming mental health issues and just deviant in every way. And we know who that is, don't we now? JP Miller. Yes, her pastor husband, as Michael once put, this is a pastor doing this. Remember the 911 call? Come on in. Come on in. I'm so glad to have you here, Ashley. Come on in. Let's talk about Mica. Let's say her name. Justice for Mica. We haven't seen justice yet, but I believe we will. And thank you so much for your support, guys. Grab you a coffee and a snack. Come on in. I want to talk about the timeline and rehash the timeline with the notes that I have. So come on in. Come on in. Oh, okay. Well, this might not be the case you want to join me with, Ashley. This is kind of I'm going to say this is a grown-up matter, and it's a sad matter. So, I appreciate you being here, but really, this isn't a topic for kids at all. I like coffee too. So I'm going to give a trigger warning for everybody. We are talking about such sad and triggering issues as domestic violence, abuse, and self-harm. If this is a problem for you, or if you feel uncomfortable talking about the topic, then please opt out, and we'll see you on the next video where we're talking about something less triggering. But today we're bringing up the Mica Francis case. We're rehashing the timeline. Hi, Corey. Come on in. And finding out what happened with Mica, because there's so many mysteries surrounding her untimely death. I'm going to start with actually a little bit before her last day. I want to go over just some things from her 911 call when she was hospitalized without her consent. She had been recently separated from her pastor husband, who she was married to for, I think it was 6 years. Um, it had been a life of torment and purity hell on earth for this poor woman, in my opinion. And she kept a good journal and kept notes and documentation. There's plenty of police reports that we gather evidence from, as well as the 911 calls. This particular call was made from a from her hospital room. It was in response to learning that her husband JP had took her laptop, took her car, took her cell phone, and was actually making calls to other people from her phone, which she stated was impossible because she was in the hospital. So, there was no doubt who was doing it, trying to spin a narrative even then. And okay, I might be getting low on the battery. I'm sorry if you didn't hear me. Let me go ahead and get my other little mic on real quick, because I do have a lot of notes. This is an involved case if you've been keeping up with it. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Okay, can you hear me okay, guys? Okay. All right, so anyway, she called stating that these items, the phone, car, and laptop, were all hers. They're not marital property, which he had previously claimed in order to get a hold of those items from the hospital, who were basically holding her captive against her will. She didn't want to be there. She was tricked into going there. Um, her husband was spreading a lot of lies. He was spreading a lot of rumors and spreading a narrative that she had some deep psychological issues, mental health issues, and was not even safe on her own. The web of lies this man has spun really makes me mad. But anyway, she turned to the cops for help, and they did not help her. She was worried because his son and his sister were both living in her house with her husband, still husband, separated but husband still. These people have dubious reputations in the community. The son has been arrested and convicted of DV and other charges. Seems like that apple did not roll far off from the tree. Also, his sister seems to have some kind of weird relationship with her children and whatnot. They were raised by this man, his father, who is a sex deviant and a convicted um, uh, what do you call it, sex offender. So it's a long, ugly, sordid family history that Mica had to deal with in dealing with this, and she just wanted her stuff back. She said there's some very private, personal photos that are on me things that JP had put to then blackmail her with. Extortion is, I think, the technical phrase. And these are all my thoughts and alleged suppositions that I've gotten from the 911 calls and other interviews. So I believe that my thoughts are based on fact. If y'all have other opinions, please put them in the comments as well. So anyway, she was worried that they were going to use them against her. Okay, so that was just one thing that happened. Now we're just going to talk about the timeline. On April 27th, this is Mica's last day on this earth. Basically, there were two ring camera footages from the apartment that she was staying at with an older church woman when she separated from John Paul Miller. So we see her in one where I don't know. I don't know where she went early in the morning. I never have heard where she went, if she went to the gym or went to work out or something. I don't know. But when she came back, you see her coming back in like a sweatshirt or something. And then you see her again leaving for work in her little black uniform, long sleeve black shirt and a short work shirt over that and black pants. From her house, she went to Dick's pawn shop. She then bought a weapon there. We see her go to 31 Grocery. We see her park. We see her going by a soda and come back out, get gas. She used the restroom, the porta potty that was outside. There was a car parked outside of that porta potty that always kind of caught my attention, that I've never heard who that was or why the doors were open. But do you remember seeing that car that was parked in front of the porta potty? There was no person around. You didn't see anybody go into the store or come out of the store to that car. You did see a bicycle man kind of cut by the car and then go across the street and disappear. If I'm not mistaken, we also saw him come back, and I think he was either the owner or something like that. We see the owner's son, apparently, what I've been told. I'm not positive. If you know better, let me know. Come back, a young man, come back. He got on to some kind of equipment that was parked there. He didn't seem to need a key, so it must have had a key in it. Moved it around a little bit. It was some interesting footage that I actually saw where he came, he went back to his car, he got something out of the car, like a bag, carried it into the store. From the inside, you could see him throw the bag up on where the coffee is, go back into the office with somebody else. He came back out. I don't know if he picked up that same bag. It didn't look like it. It looked like he had a different bag that he was actually carrying out of the store. It was very interesting. I can speculate, but I won't, about what happened in that particular transaction, just because it looked just like a certain type of a deal to me, in my opinion. But it looked really weird. Apparently, the son lives not too far from that store. Allegedly, at some point after Mica's death, we actually see him in the general area, and people speculated, was he friends with that person? Was he in that area? Is that where he got his speeding ticket? Was he involved somehow with the owner of the store or the son? Speculation, strictly speculation. Let me know what y'all think about that. All right, so at the same time that we see Mica in various surveillance at Dick's pawn shop and at 31 Grocery. Well, supposedly JP was in Charlotte, seeing one of his kids athletic event. In rumor, Susie was with him. At the same time, meanwhile, back at the ranch in his neighborhood, a neighbor later reported in a 911 call that he had actually seen JP. I don't know if this part was in the 911 call. I think this part was in an interview where he said he saw JP Saturday morning, the morning of Mica's death, the morning JP was supposed to be in charge. He said he saw him in his blue truck tearing up the roads, almost hit him. So who was it? Well, we do know one particular person in JP's family looks almost identical to him. And that would be his son. Yes, the same son that Mica was worried about, who was staying in her residence. The same one Mica had said had hit on her, and her dad knew, which is her husband. Yeah, his dad knew that his son hit on his wife. I don't know what was done about it, but she sounded she was overwhelmed in the call. You could tell she was just like, she wanted her stuff back. These things, cause a lot of stress and cause people to act, being treated in an abusive way, being treated in like you're nothing by a narcissist and a whole narcissistic family. That left Mike in such a vulnerable position, and one where she was crying out to help. I don't know how many 911 calls she made, and what help did she ever get from Myrtle Beach police? What help did she ever get from them? Even after her death, she didn't get the right treatment, I don't feel, by any law enforcement or government affiliates. We saw the medical examiner's report that was just shocking. That was so, it sounded like, to us, to many in the true crime community, it sounded like JP himself was spitting out the narrative, and whoever the medical examiner was just writing it down. It brought in things like gummies and all kinds of things and not even THC gummies. It was the Delta 8 that was suggested on that report. She had an addiction to, and if anybody knows what that is, it means that there's no THC in it, or an indistinguishable amount. Delta 9s are the THC. So even that communication was off in that. That there was a lot off in the medical examiner's report. There was a lot off. We have speculations because of the past history, hundreds of years of history in Robeson County, where she passed away, how her case was handled. We do know that they did call in the FBI, and the FBI are still on the case. So, all we can say is justice for Mica. This needs to come to a close, and this case needs to end with JP in prison, in my opinion. We all feel like he had done her wrong from the time she started going to the church as a young teenager. He began grooming her, in her own words. He married her to his best friend. He broke up their marriage by having an adulterous relationship while he was much older, married with 5 children. She tried to make the most of it. You could tell that she did. She took being a first lady very seriously, and she was in leadership in just about all the ministries, leading worship. She was on the design. She helped with the children. She did everything. He tied her up. He had her on his agenda for his service, as narcissists love to do. And Mica needs justice, because the type of abuse that she suffered is what led to her death, allegedly, in my opinion. Okay, so we see, okay, Okay, so we saw the ring cameras. We saw her go to 31 Market. She hit that about 12:32. Now, what time did she get to Lumber Park? What happened? Was she alone? How did she really get to that spot in the river where she was found? What happened to Mica her final day? We want to know. What we do know is at 3 p.m. a 911 was dispatched. The police found her vehicle. The police talked to the fisherman. We've done videos and lives about the fisherman, and we'll do some more because I still have a lot of doubts about the fisherman, who other people seem to think doesn't have anything to do with any of this. I think he has everything to do with it, and I think he knows exactly what happened. I really do. That's my opinion. And if you feel differently, let me know in the chat. Let me know what makes you think so. Because a man who changed his story that many times, and the parts that he kept the same sounded like a script. So I have a lot of doubts about old Johnny Jacobs. All right. So the fisherman who found her body, or found her bag, I should say, found her belongings. Let's see, the part of the story that he said consistently, although minute things about it did change. He said he heard a cry. He heard a faint cry. Then he heard a shot and the cry stopped, and he was like, oh no, what happened? He said he went to that area. He didn't see anybody. He said he looked around and didn't see anybody. He said what he did see was a fanny pack type thing, uh, and a cell phone laying on the bank, which is a little path to the river in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, in the spookiest, ugliest cypress swamp river with black tea water in it. That's what it's called. Black water, black tea. It is not a beautiful place. It's not a place you would go to find peace. It is a spooky place. It is. It's a swamp. So it wasn't even easy to see the path from the pictures that I saw where her belongings were. But what did he do? He picked them up and went on back. Not only that, he got in his truck with her purse, and he took all this. Supposedly he needed a lighter. He didn't remember what store. It was one or two stores, but he doesn't know which one he went to. Um, then he went home. He changed vehicles. Then he brought the purse back to the park. He pulled behind a unmarked truck. He knew it was a sheriff because he saw them with a drone. When he saw the little sheriff emblem on the drone, he showed the police what he found. They put the belongings on the hood of the law enforcement's truck. There was items in it. Her wallet, and he made sure to say there's $500, just like he found it. The $500 is there. What the hell was that $500 about? Why did he mention it so many times? Why did she have to borrow money for an attorney, for her car, and her necessities? And still, she had $500 in her wallet. She just bought a weapon for about that same price. So there's a lot of suspicious things in my mind concerning the whole belongings thing. But there was her bank cards, her keys, a little Bible. Um, he picked them up. He did his deal. He gave them to the. He also mentioned that while this is backtracking just a little bit, he said while the fisherman, while he was out on the area, he heard the cry come from the slough, which he described as a lake on the river. It's kind of just like, a little wider area there. He also mentioned that he called Charles, his friend, at 127. First he said 4 o'clock, then he realized that was way off. At 1:27. And when we look at the timeline, where was Mike at 1:27? Oh, she was at 31 Grove Street. Charles. We're told Charles. We never got real clear, just one of his friends. But we knew there was a couple Charles, the name Charles anyway, involved with JP as well. So I never got a real good answer that I felt good about that either. Then, of course, there was supposedly, this is another part of the story that didn't make any sense. A kayak with 2 men and a child is how it was described. I've always wondered about that. Could it be 2 men and a small woman? Could it have been a woman and a man and a child? Because that would cover a certain somebody, his child at an athletic event, and his, what they like to call paramour these days. I won't even say what just went through my mind to call her, but his adulterous lover. I'm just saying that's a possibility, isn't it? Well, anyway, then there was supposedly, I don't know if Johnny Jacobs was saying he was the guy in the orange shirt, but somebody mentioned that orange was JP's favorite color. There's a lot of questions about the kayak. Were there 2 people in the kayak, 3 people in the kayak? Those people have never been interviewed at all in any public interview. Were they interviewed by the police? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day. The thing that really led people to become suspicious about the Mica Francis situation was the day after her death, April 28th. There's a funeral announcement made publicly by John Paul Miller to his congregation. If you haven't seen it, you need to, because it's absolutely unbelievable. The arrogance, the callousness. He went through 2 complete sessions, the early and then the later show. We're not going to call it church. It was a show, and he's an actor. And at the end of the second one, he made an announcement. But first, he coached and groomed the whole congregation in how to respond to the news he was about to bring by telling them, don't talk. Mum's the word. Be quiet while you're in here. Don't discuss this. What I want you to do, though, is continue to come, continue to give, continue to tithe, continue to support the church. Cult is what I like to call it. Well, anyway, he announced her death in such a flippant way, just by, I think, oh, my wife, I got news that my wife passed away. It was self-induced. Who even says that? Induced. It was such a suspicious word, you know. Anyway, he hasn't acted right since, and he didn't act right before, but since, it's just been a series and an ongoing, just talk about a show, just a ridiculous charade of him pretending to be some kind of righteous pastor or something, and this little handful of supporters, of ones that we like to call the flying monkeys, little just follow him around. Now they're out behind some bar down 20 minutes from Myrtle Beach, and it's just gross. It's just gross that he's even trying to teach and preach the word of God when he's not even striving to live for Jesus in any way that's noticeable. You know, I'm not here to talk about him. I'm talking about Mica's last days, but the things that led up to it, and the things that caused suspicion to reign in this case, are the things I wanted to talk to you about. So we'll talk more tomorrow, and we're going to talk about more of the dilemma of being with a narcissist and ways that you can help yourself if you are in that type of relationship, if it's your boss, if it's your parents, or if it's your spouse. A narcissist has one agenda, and that's for their own self, and the damage that they do in other people's lives is drastic. So we'll talk some more about that and how to cope with narcissists in your life, because I want to be the support to you that unfortunately Mica didn't have in her life. So I just want to tell you all that I love you. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you later. Hey, Stu. Good to see you. Corey, Ashley, everybody, thank you for joining me today. Please like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day, guys, and God bless you.